Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, I'll write on the protocols already established. Your Excellencies, as we conclude the 11th Our Ocean Conference, Kenya reflects with pride on what has been achieved of the past few days. Guided by your vision, Your Excellency, of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, Kenya has demonstrated that ocean action and economic development are not competing priorities. They are mutually reinforcing. We have shown that protecting our ocean must go hand in hand with creating jobs, attracting investment, strengthening livelihoods, and expanding the opportunity of our people. It is for this reason, through your vision, that Kenya took the bold decision to introduce the first ever business and investment forum in the history of the Ocean Conference. We recognize that while global commitments are important, the next frontier is mobilizing private capital, enterprise, and innovation to translate those commitments into tangible outcomes. The Business Forum was able to bring various key investors, financial institutions, entrepreneurs across the world, and business leaders in Kenya and beyond. This is exactly the outcome Kenya envisioned when introducing the Business Forum, creating a platform where partnerships are informed, investments are mobilized, and solutions are scaled. As His Excellency John Kerry reminded us yesterday, the true test of this conference is not the commitments we announce, but the actions we deliver. Your Excellency, as I conclude, we are equally proud that this conference was able to attract more than 150 young leaders across Kenya into the Youth Leadership Summit, bringing fresh ideas and adopting a collective call to action for ocean stewardship, innovation, and sustainable livelihoods. We also welcome leading scientists, researchers, and innovators whose contribution reinforced the importance of science and technology in shaping the future of our ocean. Your Excellency, Kenya leaves this conference having helped shape a new chapter of our ocean journey, one that places the implementation, investment, and impact at the center of ocean action. To all our partners, delegates, thank you so much for standing with Kenya and for believing in the immense potential of our ocean. Kenya has shown that the blue economy is not merely a conservation agenda, it is an economic agenda, a jobs agenda, and a future generation agenda. From Mombasa, let us send a clear message to the world. The era of ocean commitments continues, but the era of ocean implementation has begun. Thank you very much. May God bless you. God bless Kenya. Asanteni.
Thank you, Madam PS. Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me to now invite the Governor, Mombasa County, His Excellency Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, to make his remarks. We can welcome him with a warm clap, please. Karibu, Governor.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me to be able just to give a peek into our past, our present, and our hopeful future. Your Excellency, when we were walking in, there was a picture amongst those young people, women groups who benefited from a program that was done with your government and all the 6 county governments on the Kemsfed program. Had we not started that initiative then, today, those groups would not be talking about the achievements that they've been able to get. Your Excellency, last time we were on this road, I remember there are pictures that were taken and naysayers were trying to have their say, but today that road network is opening up all our hotels, something that is key when it comes to matters to do with the issues to do with the blue economy, which tourism is an integral part. Your Excellency, you will also recall me and yourself, and I think a number of your CSs went to a cruise ship. We did not go there for any other reason, but we entered into a cruise ship for purposes of you selling Mombasa as a preferred destination. End result of that, today we are having more vessels coming into Mombasa, more tourism coming into Mombasa. Today we went into a research vessel that I'm sure the CS will be talking about and you will be able to probably mention on. And the issues to do with that research vessel is how we can be able to put in place mechanisms to ensure that our fisherfolk are well informed on methodologies and in areas in which they can be able to go out and fish. All this would not be possible if this country was going to work in silos. Even today as we speak, Mombasa has been blessed over the last couple of days. We've had about 6,000 delegates. And I'm not a very good mathematician. I might be a good politician, Your Excellency, but a mathematician, maybe not that much. But I was doing my calculations. There are 6,000 delegates, and excluding air tickets. But if you just look at the accommodation and everything else that they spend, and if we just ask them to, where I looked at it on an aggregate of about $1,000 for a period of about 4 days, that is someone who would have spent about $250 on a daily basis. Mombasa has just had a financial boost of $6 million over a period of 4 days. Now, I want to say this because of one reason. You have just come in from abroad. And while you are away, of course, there are those naysayers who say that you're traveling too much. Please travel more so that you can be able to make sure that more and more of such can be able to come within our counties, because we are the ones who know the benefit of all that is currently going on. Your Excellency, yesterday you were not around, but I did mention our commitment in regards to waste management, the fact that we have started and we are embarking on a waste program for recycling, something that is all connected to do with ensuring that we have zero emission of plastics and waste in our oceans, hazardous waste programs to ensure that as much as we're a port city, we do not have an element of any hazardous waste in our oceans. Your Excellency, through your intervention, we've been able to work with the port authorities. I think I've seen the management of the port around, but we've been able to work with the port authorities. Today we're working on means and modalities of decongesting the port. Today we are working on means and modalities, and the county government has been able to be an integral part of the port, including having the county government of Mombasa earn its rightful share as we continue and strive for way more. And Your Excellency, yesterday I requested before I talk about the future, yesterday I requested His Excellency the Deputy President, and when I said this, many people took it as a joke. I hope you will take it with a lot of seriousness. We want to pass a piece of legislation, Your Excellency, so that when these delegates come to Mombasa, as we are in the process of working with your government to have a national convention or a conference bureau, which is something that was your idea, a piece of legislation to make sure that everyone who is here finishes their money here. You see, I told you they'll take it as a joke. Your Excellency, and lastly, this is now in regards to the future. I will start with the nearest future. I have been able to be with you in a cruise ship. I've been with you in ferries. I've been with you in motorcades. I've been with you in aeroplanes. I've been with you in... But I think today will be the first day that I'm going to be joining you for a concert, where we're hoping that you're going to be putting on your dancing feet later on, the dancing shoes later on. And I just wanted to remind all the delegates, it's not every day that you actually go to a concert with the President and a delegation of this magnitude. So you're all invited at Jumeirah Beach. There'll be shuttles that have been made available, so each and every one of you can be able to make their way. And with those very many words, take the opportunity kuwakaribisha. Karibu sana Rais wa Unguja, karibu sana Mombasa. Najua ukifika hapa unahisi uko nyumbani. And the rest of you, please do feel at home. We hope that you're able to extend your stay even further, and Mombasa is open to way more conferences like this. And congratulations to my brother Hassan Alijo and the whole team from the Ministry of Blue Economy for putting together an extremely successful conference. Congratulations to each and every one of you, and once again, karibuni sana Mombasa.
Thank you, Governor. Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me to now invite Mr. Costa Cadiz, European Commissioner for Fisheries and Oceans, European Union, to make his remarks. Let's give him a clap as he's coming. Mr. Costa Cadiz, welcome. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Hamjambo, habari zenu. On behalf of the European Union, I would like to congratulate Kenya on a very successful Our Ocean Conference, and thank you very much for your warm hospitality. It was a great pleasure to participate for the first time in such a distinguished company. I am particularly pleased that this 11th edition of our Ocean Conference was organized here in Mombasa and for the first time in Africa. This conference offered a unique opportunity not only to reflect on the health of the ocean, but also to take stock of where we stand today and how best to navigate in a rapidly changing world. The challenge our ocean faces, from the existential threat of climate change to the rapid loss of biodiversity, are global in nature, so they demand global solutions and global action. We value our strong partnership with Africa. The EU pledged yesterday over 338 million euro for the ocean, because we believe in international cooperation and investing in our ocean, to protect it from climate change and pollution, illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing, and security threats, to observe it better and understand it, and to promote sustainable fisheries and thriving coastal communities worldwide. One takeaway I will take from Mombasa to the United Nations General Assembly and COP31 is the need for strengthening ocean observation through the Global Ocean Observing System, GOOS, and an international alliance, the Ocean Eye. We need global data more than ever today. Together with Canada, we will co-chair this alliance, and I'm pleased that Norway joined already the alliance and that many other countries very positively received the announcement of this initiative. I count on all partners, countries, private sector and philanthropies around the world to join this alliance, so we can proudly announce in September a more resilient global system. The EU committed 50 million euros to operationalize Ocean Eye, and an additional 12 million euros to support resilient global ocean data systems. Ocean Eye will connect us all. It will stabilize and expand critical observation networks and enhance global coordination on biodiversity and ecosystem monitoring efforts. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the ocean needs us much as we need it. Our action for the ocean depends on each and every one of us taking a stand and staying committed. This 11th Our Ocean Conference demonstrated that together we are stronger. Thank you.
Before I invite the Cabinet Secretary for Blue Economy, Your Excellency, allow me to call on His Excellency Peter Thompson, UN Secretary General, Special Envoy for Oceans, to make his remarks. Let's give him a clap as he's coming. Welcome, sir.
Amjambo. Your Excellency President Ruto and Your Excellency President Mwenyi and Deputy Prime Minister and Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all courtesies observed, and on behalf of all of those of us who've made our way to Mombasa for this conference, I express heartfelt thanks to the government and people of Kenya, but also to the island city of Mombasa, and for all the warm hospitality we received here. Asante sana. After the Sustainable Blue Economy Conference in Nairobi in 2018, and after Kenya's co-hosting of the second UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon in 2022, and now through the successful completion of the Our Ocean Conference in Mombasa, we can affirm to all that when the world directs ocean responsibilities Kenya's way, it's putting them into very safe hands. On behalf of all, I wish to acknowledge with deep gratitude the conference organizers, coming from many walks of the Kenyan government, and also the World Resources Institute. Your reward lies in the fact that in spite of all the challenges thrown at you, thanks to your hard work, we've completed a world-class ocean conference here. Congratulations to you all. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, here in Mombasa we stand on the shores of a fabled coast, the Swahili coast, along which Arabian dhows long plied their trade, and early Portuguese navigators established maritime links between Europe and Asia. We stand here on the shores of what the world knows as the Indian Ocean, a vast body of water that is in fact an inseparable part of the planet's one ocean. Over 90% of the planet's living space is out there in that ocean, as is the great majority of life. Lift up a bucket of water with just 1 liter of that ocean water, and whether you can see them or not, you have before you 1 million phytoplankton, the very foundation of planetary life. Just one type of that phytoplankton, Prochlorococcus, produces 20% of the oxygen in the biosphere. In short, without that profusion of ocean life, the existence of humankind is null and void. Yet in spite of that existential fact, still we wantonly pollute the ocean with our chemicals and plastics. Still we overfish it and damage it with our industrial fishing fleets and our bottom trawling. Still, we steadily warm it with our greenhouse gas emissions, heating it to the extent that sea levels are rising inexorably and coral reefs are dying. You have to ask the question, at this rate, at what point does life in the ocean just give up on us? Honest answer, we don't know yet. In spite of all the bombast and denialism, as if from a dream of blissful ignorance, the world is waking up to our overwhelming reliance on a healthy ocean. And here's where the hope comes in. Here's where we see a prosperous future for our grandchildren and theirs. For we're coming to the realization that if we curtail the maladies we are willfully inflicting upon the ocean, and I agree that's rather a large if, the ocean will sustain us in the fullness of life. If you think of the fact that over 70% of the planet's surface is covered by the ocean, and then consider how prolific marine life has evolved to be, an average pelagic fish lays over 1 million eggs. you can see a future in which most of what we eat and drink will come from the sea. And so our quest must be to turn that large if into a can-do proposition, a global consensus of positive ocean action rooted in good science and nature-positive restoration measures. For all aspects of the current decline in the ocean's health, let us embrace the belief that the harm humankind has done can be undone. And so the call to action is for humankind to put an end to the anthropogenic maladies we've been putting on the ocean's health, which means that the green transition to renewable energy and circular economies powered by the overwhelming logic of science and now of economics must proceed at a greatly hastened pace. In the ocean, we're required to transition from hunting to farming. We're required to find the golden mean between conserving and sustainably using the ocean's resources. And I ask you to keep ever in mind that the golden mean is not a chimera. It already exists, for example, in my region through the indigenous knowledge of the Pacific Island communities, who for centuries imposed seasonal bans on fishing in order to allow Mother Nature to have her way. The ocean's golden mean is now being pursued with renewed vigor around the world in pursuit of our agreed global target of 30 by 30, with countries like Chile, Papua New Guinea, Costa Rica, the Azores, and French Polynesia legislating giant marine protected areas within their EEZs. Now, with the ratification of the BBNJ High Seas Treaty, we expect to achieve early establishment of MPAs in international waters, with the proposed marine protected area adjacent to the Antarctica Peninsula being a highly anticipated moment to come. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, achieving SDG 14, establishing that golden mean between conservation and sustainable use of the ocean's resources is not something that happens with a wave of Neptune's trident. Neither does it happen as a single breakthrough at one or two conferences. It is an incremental process, determined by forces of good science, of logic, of respect for international law, and multilateral consensus leading to legislation. It flourishes through adoption of good practice and by staying true to our word and giving goodwill towards all. That is not a pipe dream, for we have one planet and our species has amazing reserves of innovation, apportionment, and of empathy. And these are at our disposal, freely for us to use. Look ahead, for our progress has an adamant lodestar that is guiding us. And that is intergenerational justice. It's the light of that lodestar guides us. It leads us on, with Father Time being the one to tell the story of our dedication to incremental success in bringing humanity back into balance with nature and the ocean. And so let us set off purposely from Mombasa on the course we've set for ourselves, to Canada next year for OOC 12, to Korea for the 4th UN Ocean Conference in June 2028, and then to sunny Jamaica in 2029 for OOC 13. Along the way, we replenish our resolve and our resources at gatherings like the Biodiversity Convention's COP17 in Armenia this October, at the Global Coral Reef Summit in Saudi Arabia in November, and later that month at UNFCCC's COP31 in Turkey. We will fortify progress through advancement of ocean science at the UN Decade of Ocean Science in Rio de Janeiro next April, and we'll enter a new era of legal ocean governance when we assemble in New York in January for COP1 of the BBNJ High Seas Treaty. It's indeed a course set with bountiful opportunities for tangible collaboration and headway. But the tide waits for no one, so all aboard for the voyage ahead. May we stay true to our course, and along the way may we have fair winds and following seas. Nandeni Salama.
With your permission, Your Excellency, allow me to now invite the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, Honorable Ali Hassan Joho. Let's welcome him with a clap. Karibu sana Waziri.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency, Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, allow me very briefly to invite my colleague, the Minister from Jamaica, Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change, Honorable Matthew Samuda, to come and make some remarks. Your Excellency, Matthew Samuda will be hosting us in 2028.
Your Excellency, President Honorable William Ruto, distinguished heads of delegation, excellencies, representatives of governments, indeed friends of the ocean all. Allow me to thank the government and people of Kenya for their hospitality and indeed their ocean leadership. On behalf of the government and people of Jamaica, it is with profound gratitude, humility, and a deep sense of responsibility that I accept the honor of hosting the 2029 Our Ocean Conference in Montego Bay, Jamaica. This is more than the acceptance of an event. It is the acceptance of a responsibility to the world's oceans, to future generations, and to billions of people whose lives, livelihoods, food, security, culture, and prosperity depend on a healthy marine environment. For Jamaica, this moment carries special significance. Montego Bay is not simply a beautiful coastal city. It is a place etched into the history of global ocean governance. It is here that the negotiations culminating in the landmark UN Convention on the Law of the Sea found their enduring legacy, giving the world a legal framework that continues to govern the use and protection of our oceans today. We will convene a conference focused not merely on promises, but on implementation. Excellencies, the world does not need simply another conference, the world needs outcomes. In 2029, we look forward to welcoming the world to Montego Bay, where history helped shape the law of the sea, and where together we will help shape the future of the ocean. We also look forward to working with colleagues and friends in Canada next year in their hosting of the Our Oceans Conference. Again, on behalf of the government and people of Jamaica, I thank you for your confidence, your partnership, and your commitment to our shared ocean. We look forward to welcoming all of you, including His Excellency, in Montego Bay, Jamaica. One ocean, one future, one shared responsibility. Thank you.
Your Excellency, I was trying to see if I could use some Jamaican words to say thank you, but the only one I know is Wagwan. Your Excellency, allow me to acknowledge the presence of my colleagues, the Minister for Defense, Honorable Soipan Tuya, the Minister for East Africa Community, Honorable Beatrice Askul, and my brother, the Minister for Sports and Creative Economy, Honorable Salim Vuria. Your Excellency, also there are very many members of Parliament led by the Chairman of the Coast Parliamentary Group, Honorable Gertrude Mayu. Chairman, can you just be upstanding so we can wave? Your Excellency, we had agreed with Governor Abdul Swamad, because he speaks quite a lot, and to leave me the duty of recognizing the governors. So we have the neighboring governor for Kilifi, Governor Gideon Maita Mungaro. Then Governor Tanariva, Major Retired Dado Godana. Then Governor Isa Timami, Governor for Lamu, and finally Governor Mwadime, Governor for Taita Taveta County. Your Excellency, allow me to ask respectfully, with humility, my colleagues to just stand, the ministers from wherever they are, just stand so we can give you a clap, and I appreciate your presence. The visiting ministers that are still in the room. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is honored to have hosted the 11th Our Ocean Conference, and the city of Mombasa is proud to have played hosts. This gathering has been a turning point in ocean diplomacy, one led by Global South, anchored in Africa's rising role as a center for innovation and partnerships, guided by conviction that the future belongs to our children and that we are merely custodians. The 11th Ocean Conference has elevated what too many conferences leave behind: community voices, gender equity, youth leadership, and indigenous knowledge systems that have governed our oceans long before international frameworks existed. In the course of the week, we successfully prosecuted all the 8 pillars of the conference. Your Excellency, on the ocean climate nexus, we aligned ocean action with global climate goals and affirmed that the two cannot be separated. On the sustainable fisheries, we confronted IUU fishing with both community accountability and scientific rigor. On the sustainable blue economy, we unlocked investment pathways and financing frameworks that can drive real growth for coastal nations. On marine protected areas, we charted credible routes towards the 30 by 30 target and strengthened the case for protecting the high seas. Your Excellency, on maritime security, we reinforced the need for continuous capacity building to keep our waters safe and open for trade. On marine pollution, we tackled plastic across their full life cycle, from production to the ocean floor. On maritime transport and infrastructure, Your Excellency, we named what previous ocean conferences overlook: that our ports, our shipping corridors, and our coastal facilities are the arteries of trade, the backbone of connectivity, and the foundation of resilient blue economy. Investing in them means jobs, prosperity, and dignity for our people. And through our special agenda on community leadership, we insisted that the bottom-up approach must drive economic action, because no management strategy that bypasses the people will ever succeed. The conference was enriched by academic symposia, youth forums, and business dialogues that brought together researchers, young leaders, and investors from across the world. 40 side events expanded these discussions further, producing flow announcements, investment deals, and new collaborations that will outlast this week, Your Excellency. As a nation, we recognize the ocean as the engine of our development, the foundation upon which food security, trade, energy, tourism, and community resilience are all built. To realize the full potential, destructive practices must be reversed and finance flows redirected towards sustainable ocean investment. Our ports, shipping lines, and coastal infrastructure are not peripheral concerns. They are central to how Africa connects with the world and how our people access prosperity. Your Excellency, as we close this conference here in Mombasa, it is not a simple feeling that I have. It is more of accountability. We have transformed shared concerns into concrete commitments, building resilience for vulnerable coastal communities, advancing climate research and capacity building, mobilizing ocean climate finance, and strengthening maritime transport systems that bind Africa to global economy. There are promises made in this city, before this ocean, to the generations who will inherit both. This conference, Your Excellency, has shown us something important. The ocean is not one subsector. It is a living system where climate, security, fisheries, transport, infrastructure, pollution, and community leadership converge. To govern it well, we must hold all this together. That is the philosophy of our theme. That is the meaning of our shared heritage and our shared future. Your Excellency, as we hand the mantle to Canada for the 12th Ocean Conference, we do so with confidence and with challenge. Confidence because this week has shown what is possible when the world gathers with purpose. Challenge because the ocean cannot wait for another decade of incremental progress. Our Kenyan forefathers reminded us, umoja ni nguvu, meaning unity is strength. Your Excellency, another Swahili coast has always, the Swahili coast has always known that bahari haikosi mawimbi. The ocean never lacks waves. United we ride those waves, and we will ensure our oceans remain that they've always been, a source of life, a source of heritage, a source of prosperity for this world and the generations to come. Asanteni sana, Mwenyezi Mungu awalinde and awabariki. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, I have one more duty, a very simple duty, to invite our next host to the floor. That is Director General for Fisheries and International Policy from Canada, Darcy Dimasico. Correct? So that I can hand over the baton, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency President Ruto, Your Excellencies, Honourable Ministers, fellow delegates. Let me begin by thanking our hosts. What a wonderful event. You have not made it easy to follow in your footsteps. Thank you so much. But that is our responsibility, and we embrace it. It's my pleasure to introduce the Honourable John Thompson, the Minister of Fisheries for Canada. She could not be here today, but she wanted to share with you a short message.
Hello, I'm Joanne Thompson, Canada's Minister of Fisheries. I'm pleased to announce that Canada will host the 2027 Our Ocean Conference in Halifax, Nova Scotia. We look forward to welcoming the world to our shores next spring. The world's oceans are one of nature's most precious gifts to humankind. They are the foundation of food security, culture, and identity, and the lifeblood of coastal communities everywhere. With the world's largest coastline, Canadians are deeply connected to the ocean. As host of the 2027 Our Oceans Conference, we will bring that lived experience to the table, grounding global discussions in real experience and practical solutions. Our goal is to deliver a conference that advances global ambitions and translates shared commitments into meaningful actions. Some of the things you can expect Canada to showcase next year include the importance of partnerships with Indigenous peoples and the generational knowledge they bring to ocean stewardship, the urgent need to protect northern marine ecosystems as climate change transforms the Arctic at an unprecedented pace, and how we're using science, data, innovation, and nature-based solutions to support sustainable economic opportunities. I want to congratulate the government of Kenya for hosting a successful conference in Mombasa You showcased your country's strong commitment to ocean leadership and the importance of taking global action. I'm excited to build on this momentum in Canada, where we will strengthen ocean governance, build a stronger blue economy to support our coastal, rural, and island communities, and turn your ambitions into real action. And yes, Canadian world-class seafood will be on the menu. We will see you in 2027.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. It is now my humble duty to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic, the President of Zanzibar, President Daktari Hussein Mwinyi. Waswahili wa vilemba wajuana kwa Waswahili wa Pemba wajuana kwa vilemba. Karibu Mheshimiwa Rais.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, honorable ministers here present, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to join you at this important gathering. I bring warm greetings from Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, and from the people of Tanzania. Her Excellency had greatly wished to participate in this gathering personally. However, due to other pressing official commitments, she was unable to do so, and I'm here to represent her at this very important occasion. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, allow me to commend the government and people of the Republic of Kenya for hosting this 11th Our Ocean Conference here in Mombasa. This historic occasion, being the first of its kind held on African soil, reflects Africa's growing leadership in ocean governance and sustainable blue development. I also extend sincere appreciation to our Ocean Conference organizers and all partners for their dedication in making this conference a success. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, over the past days, we have engaged in productive discussions, exchanged valuable experiences, and strengthened partnerships aimed at securing the future of our ocean. The theme of this conference, Our Ocean, Our Heritage, Our Future, has reminded us that the ocean is not only a shared natural resource, but also a foundation for livelihoods, food security, trade, climate resilience, culture, and sustainable prosperity. The discussions and commitments made during this conference has reaffirmed the urgent need for collective action to address the interconnected challenges facing our oceans, including marine pollution, biodiversity loss, climate change, unsustainable exploitation of marine resources, and maritime insecurity. Distinguished delegates, for the United Republic of Tanzania, the ocean is central to our development and prosperity. Tanzania possesses approximately 1,424 kilometers of coastline along the Indian Ocean and an exclusive economic zone covering 223,000 square kilometers. Our country is also endowed with approximately 64,000 square kilometers of ocean waters and 61,500 kilometers of fresh water resources, making the blue economy one of the most strategic sectors for our long-term economic transformation. These maritime and aquatic resources support fisheries, aquaculture, tourism, maritime trade, transport, offshore energy, and millions of livelihoods. Tanzania's fisheries sector currently produces over 513,000 tons of fishery products annually, valued at approximately 3.5 trillion Tanzanian shillings. In addition, offshore natural gas discoveries estimated at 57.5 trillion cubic feet, of which 47.1 trillion cubic feet are offshore, continue to present significant opportunities for economic development and industrial transformation. Zanzibar, a semi-autonomous island archipelago of the United Republic of Tanzania, covering approximately 2,600 square kilometers, plays a central role in advancing this national vision. The blue economy contributes nearly 30% of Zanzibar's GDP and directly supports livelihoods for a substantial share of the population, particularly women and youth engaged in fisheries, seaweed farming, tourism, and marine-related trade. Recognizing the immense value of ocean resources, Tanzania has placed the blue economy at the center of its national development agenda. Zanzibar adopted its blue economy policy in 2020 to guide sustainable investment in fisheries, aquaculture, tourism, maritime transport, renewable energy, and marine governance, while mainland Tanzania had adopted the policy in 2024 and continues to strengthen its policy, legal, and institutional frameworks that support sustainable ocean management and ocean-based industries. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the United Republic of Tanzania fully supports the 6 interconnected thematic priorities of this conference. On sustainable blue economy, Tanzania continues to promote ocean-based industries that create employment opportunities, strengthen food security, and stimulate inclusive economic growth while safeguarding marine ecosystems. However, unlocking the full potential of Africa's blue economy requires addressing persistent financing gaps, limited technology access, and institutional capacity challenges. On sustainable fisheries, Tanzania continues to combat illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing through strengthening regulatory frameworks, science-based fisheries management, community participation, and enhanced maritime surveillance systems. We continue to strengthen maritime domain awareness across our exclusive economic zone through modern radar systems, vessel monitoring infrastructure, and regional cooperation. At the same time, seaweed farming in Zanzibar continues to economically empower women and youth while contributing to sustainable livelihoods and export earnings. Regarding the marine protected areas, Tanzania recognized that economic utilization of ocean resources cannot happen at the expense of ecological integrity. We have established over 4,320 square kilometers of marine parks and reserves, including internationally recognized conservation areas such as Mafia Island Marine Park, Mnazi Bay Marine Park, Menai Bay Conservation Area, Mnemba Island Chwaka Bay, and Pemba Channel Conservation Area. In addition, Tanzania is finalizing the establishment of 3 new marine protected areas in eastern Pemba and Kilwa districts, contributing directly towards the global 30 by 30 biodiversity conservation targets. These efforts are reinforced through mangrove restoration programs covering approximately 158,000 hectares across our coastal areas, strengthening ecosystem resilience and supporting blue carbon initiatives. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on marine pollution, Tanzania recognized the growing threat posed by plastic waste and land-based pollution to marine ecosystems, tourism, fisheries, and public health. Our country currently faces an annual waste management challenge exceeding 14 million tons. In response, we are strengthening solid waste management systems, improving wastewater treatment infrastructure, and promoting circular economy approaches aimed at reducing marine litter and protecting ocean health. Concerning the ocean climate nexus, climate change continues to threaten coastal and island communities through sea level rise, coastal erosion, floods, droughts, and extreme weather events. Tanzania, therefore, remains committed to climate adaptation and mitigation measures through ecosystem restoration, climate-resilient infrastructure, mangrove conservation, and promotion of low-carbon development pathways. Sustainable environmental management and climate resilience remain key priorities under Tanzania's Vision 2050. On maritime security, Tanzania continues to strengthen maritime governance and regional cooperation to ensure secure sea routes, combat piracy, trafficking, and transnational crimes, and facilitate maritime trade and investment throughout the Western Indian Ocean region. Safe and secure oceans are essential for the success of the blue economy and sustainable regional development. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, despite these important achievements, the full potential of Tanzania's blue economy remains untapped. Unlocking this potential requires stronger international partnerships, increased investment, technology transfer, innovation, and institutional capacity building. We particularly emphasize the importance of empowering local communities, women and youth who remain at the center of ocean-based livelihoods and sustainable coastal development. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this conference, let us carry forward the spirit of cooperation and shared responsibility that has defined our deliberations here in Mombasa. Let us transform our commitments into concrete actions that protect our ocean, strengthen livelihoods, and build resilience for future generations. The United Republic of Tanzania remains fully committed to working with all partners to advance a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable blue economy that balances economic growth with environmental stewardship. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Your Excellency, very quickly, with your permission, I had forgot to recognize my colleague, Deborah Baraza, the Minister for Environment. And I am told also the Governor of Kwale, Fatuma Achani. The Deputy Governor, oh yeah, sorry. And finally, Your Excellency, I want to thank everybody that participated in the whole of government approach, the principal secretaries that are here. Thank you very much. And Canada will support you. Excellency, Canada has asked that we support. So with your permission, we will support. We will go and do some work with Canada. Finally, Your Excellency, I want to request that we be upstanding so that we can welcome His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto.
Hassan, please let's take our seats. Thank you very much. First, on behalf of the government and people of Kenya, I want to thank all of you for finding time to come for this important Our Oceans Conference. Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the close of a consequential and momentous gathering in our shared effort to secure the future of our nations and of our oceans. I commend you for the 4 days of productive, candid, and forward-looking deliberations. The ocean faces significant and, in many respects, unprecedented challenges. By absorbing 90% of excess heat trapped by greenhouse gases and almost a third of our carbon dioxide emissions, it has quietly altered its own chemistry and physics to shield the rest of us from harm. But the oceans can absorb only so much. And now it is pushing back. Rising seas are displacing millions in low-lying coasts and islands. Acidifying waters are corroding the base of the marine food chain and the livelihoods built upon them. Stronger storms, marine heat waves, storm surges, and coastal flooding are destroying infrastructure and straining communities already stretched very thin. Marine pollution, above all plastics, is reaching the deepest trenches and affecting even the smallest fish. For too long, our response has been held back by weak political will, inadequate finance, the slow deployment of technology and innovation, limited capacity, and governance that is fragmented, weakly regulated, and poorly enforced. Yet human ingenuity has always risen in moments of difficulty, turning hardship into opportunity. And in this direction, we are now making progress. Consider this. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea gave us the Constitution of the Ocean. In the past year alone, 2 landmark agreements have given it force. The High Seas Treaty entered into force last January, becoming the first legal framework to protect biodiversity across the nearly 2/3 of the ocean that belongs to no single nation. Complementing this achievement, the World Trade Organization's Agreement on Fisheries Subsidies entered into force in September 2025, making it the first World Trade Organization agreement devoted to sustainability. I say this with particular pride, as Kenya was among the nations whose ratification finally carried that agreement over the line and into force. We do not merely host this conference. We help carry it. So we end this summit on a very high note. Over 6,000 delegates from, I am told, 104 countries and institutions have gathered here to turn ambition into action. Together, you have registered over 300 new commitments with a combined value of about US$ 5.7 billion. Kenya alone has made 40 commitments valued at US$ 1.1 billion in support of our blue economy. And I will give you context. 3 years ago, we made a deliberate and conscious decision that the blue economy, our oceans and waters, were not contributing significantly to our gross domestic product and also to our progress as a nation. And I took the decision that I am going to have a dedicated blue economy and Fisheries State Department. As a result, in the last 3 years, we have invested 20.3 billion Kenya shillings in our blue economy and fisheries ecosystem. We completed 3 fish landing sites. We have another 5 under construction at the Indian Ocean coast and 10 in Lake Victoria, so a total of 15 fish landing sites that are going on, and markets at a cost of 2.8 billion Kenya shillings. I did break ground for the construction of Shimoni Fish Port 2 years ago, which is now complete. We are now looking for an operator at a cost of 2.6 billion Kenya shillings. We have built 2 centers of excellence for aquaculture, one in Kabonyo in Kisumu and another one in Kwale, both at a cost of 2.5 billion Kenya shillings, already at the final stages of completion. We have bought patrol, research, and rescue boats at a cost of 1.4 billion Kenya shillings and have already been made available to communities. We have also bought onshore boats for communities, 272 community boats. I remember I was in Kilifi, in Malindi specifically the other day, to hand over some of them at a cost of 842 million shillings, and we have since distributed these boats to communities. And I remember in 2023, we changed the model when myself and this good man, Salim Vuria, we found some people trying to construct buildings, buy cars, set up headquarters. We decided that that money was not going to be used for brick and mortar. We decided that that money was going to be made available to communities. And as a result, 86,000 community members were given 3.3 billion Kenya shillings. And I saw some of them today in this conference explain to us what has happened to their livelihoods for the last 3 years, how their livelihoods have changed, how they have managed to do more with the money that we give them, and that they are looking forward to us enhancing what was made available to them. And finally, we have invested another 3 billion shillings to a maritime center that will be used for information gathering and research that is going to assist our fisheries and blue economy ecosystems. So it is because of this deliberate and intentional investment in our fisheries and blue economy ecosystem that today Kenya has been recognized as a blue and oceans country. And that is why we are hosting this conference for the first time in the African soil. Delivering in full the commitments that have been made will expand our maritime and marine protected areas, restore our fisheries, combat climate change, cut pollution, build sustainable blue economies, and strengthen maritime security, ultimately growing our shared ocean wealth. We have also committed to a different model of growth, one that combines economic opportunity with conservation through offshore renewable energy, the transition to circular and biodegradable materials, sustainable fisheries, and inclusive national sustainable ocean plans. Let me, however, reiterate that commitments without the means to deliver them will never match the urgency or the scale of what the oceans now demand of us. We must find new and bolder ways to mobilize finance, deploy technology and innovation, build capacity, and make our existing ocean frameworks work together rather than apart. The cost of protecting the ocean cannot keep falling on those who did the least to harm it. And it is the reason why in the G7 meeting that I had the honor to attend yesterday and the day before, the discussion was about new partnerships, how we can do things differently. And our position, as we consolidated that position during the Africa Forward Summit last month, was that going forward, the conversation and the engagement by those of us from the Global South and from Africa will no longer be on dependency. Rather, it's going to be on sovereign equality. That going forward, the cause of aid and charity and assistance has run its course. Going forward, it has to be partnerships, and partnerships that are mutually beneficial. And we did also agree at the Africa Forward Summit, and it is the position that I presented to the G7, that going forward, we will reject any engagement that amounts to extraction. We will reject any extractive engagements. Going forward, it is going to be investments that create jobs, that create value, and that makes everybody a winner by creating a win-win outcome. That it is in the interest of all our partners that we create jobs in Africa, that we create value in Africa. In any case, going into the future market, the future workforce, because we not only have the natural resources, the agricultural resources, energy resources, and the human capital resources that makes Africa the center that will produce 40% of the world's workforce by 2050 and be the single largest market of 2.5 billion people by 2050. That will be the gravitational force that will drive global progress and global prosperity. And as a result, there is need to now eliminate all the barriers that stand in the way to accessing new ways of financing this continent and the resources that we have, not for purposes of treating Africa being treated special. It is in pursuit of being treated equal. And being treated equal is not too much to ask. It just means that. We do not want to be treated as special human beings, but we want to be treated equally with others. So this is the mission, and I'm very happy that this conference has delegates from across the world. And we are speaking together because oceans and all the other resources are shared equally amongst all people. In conclusion, the world has one honest option: to turn political promise into real action, to green our ports, drive blue-green industrialization, create high-value and dignified jobs, and secure a living and resilient ocean. We did not come to Mombasa to add our names to a longer list of promises. We came to turn the tide. Let the measure of this conference not be what we pledged on the shore, but what we deliver in the waters. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I extend my most sincere gratitude to all of you for your invaluable contribution throughout this conference. And for fellow citizens from the Republic of Kenya, niwashukuru sana. Nimshukuru waziri wetu Ali Hassan Joho kwa ile kazi amefanya na timu yake kutoka wizara Betsy, PS wake na PSS wale wengine, pamoja na wale wote walioshiriki pamoja katika kuendesha conference hii ambayo tumesikia ushuhuda kutoka hawa wageni kwamba ni conference ya kimataifa ambayo imetengenezwa katika mji wetu wa Mombasa. Nataka niseme pongezi. Conference hii inayofanyika hapa Mombasa ni conference ya kwanza kufanyika, Ocean Conference ya kwanza kufanyika katika bara la Afrika. Haijafanyika kwa bahati, haijafanyika kwa makosa. Imefanyika kwa sababu tuko na mpango, na dunia nzima linaelewa tuko na mpango, na ndio sababu hiyo tuko na conference hii hapa Kenya. Na sio hii conference peke yake, niwakumbushe kidogo. 2023 tulikuwa na conference ya kwanza ya Africa Climate Summit iliyofanyika katika bara letu la Afrika. Niwakumbushe tena ya kwamba mwezi uliopita tulikuwa tena na conference ya kwanza ya Africa Forward ambayo imefanyika katika Anglophone country hapa Kenya, iliyohudhuriwa na marais karibu 33. Na jana na juzi Kenya pia ilikuwa inawakilisha bara letu la Afrika katika mkutano wa G7. Na leo hapa Mombasa tunakamilisha mkutano wa kwanza katika bara la Afrika la Ocean Conference. Haya mambo yote hayafanyiki kwa mzaha ama kwa bahati ama kwa makosa. Yanafanyika kwa mpango, na kwa sababu dunia nzima iko na heshima na ile kazi tunayofanya kama serikali na wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Ndio nazidi kuwaambia ndugu zangu wa Kenya, tujiamini bwana, tuamini taifa letu. Tuache porojo na propaganda na fitina nyingi na matusi ambayo hayana maana. Tuwe na mpango bwana, tuwe na sera. Hivyo ndivyo tutakapopata heshima. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Ukiangalia katika vyombo vya habari huwezi hata kujua kwamba kuna conference kubwa ya kimataifa inaendelea Mombasa. Kule kwa vyombo vya habari ni matusi, fitina na vitu mambo madogo madogo. Lakini sawa tu. Hivyo ndivyo mambo yalivyo hapa, lakini kitakuja kueleweka. Your commitment, expertise, and collaboration will go a long way in advancing our shared mission to protect and secure the future of our oceans for generations to come. As we bring this conference to a close, I encourage you to take time to experience the beauty and warmth of Kenya, and more particularly of Mombasa. You have heard from the governor of Mombasa that there will be a concert. And he has invited all of us to the concert, and he has given guidelines that everybody must come with their dancing shoes. So I don't know what kind of any other attire that may be required. Before your journey home, I invite you to explore magical Kenya, great Mombasa, especially our magnificent coast, whose oceans have been at the heart of our discussions and whose future we have gathered here to safeguard. I am confident that the memories you create here will remain with you for a lifetime. And please carry our gratitude, our best wishes to your countries, to your citizens, and our very, very best wishes. And to Canada, we wish you well as you prepare the next Ocean Conference. And I'm sure Minister Joho is going to provide whatever learning lessons that he did so that we can have even better outcomes in Canada. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.